Have you ever noticed that some people only remember you when they need something urgently, and then seem to forget you the moment they feel better? Have you ever given your time, your sleep, your peace, hoping that one day someone would notice and appreciate your sacrifice? If that feeling lives inside you, stay with this story a little longer. Because sometimes the kindest hearts learn the hardest lessons in silence. There was a quiet town where days moved slowly and gently. Green fields stretched far into the distance, and old houses rested like tired memories. And in that town lived a man named Daniel, ordinary, simple, and kind. Daniel wasn't famous, nor was he rich, but everyone in town knew his name well. If a lock jammed somewhere, they called Daniel without hesitation. If boxes were too heavy to carry, they called Daniel again. If loneliness knocked on someone's door, they called Daniel without shame, and Daniel never asked why. He only smiled and said yes. Of course, I'll help, was always his answer. People called him kind and good. They praised him for his heart, and for a while, that praise felt warm inside. But kindness can quietly turn into a cage without warning. Slowly, Daniel's life stopped feeling like it belonged to him. His garden stayed unfinished for months. His roof leaked when it rained. His windows slowly cracked apart. Each night he returned home exhausted, his hands shaking and his heart feeling empty. His mother watched him silently, her worried eyes full of pain. "Daniel," she said softly one night, "you save everyone around you, but who saves you?" Daniel smiled that same small smile. "One day," he gently replied, "they'll remember my kindness." But that day never came. One evening, the sky darkened suddenly. The wind howled through the town as a storm rushed in. People ran to protect what mattered most to them. Daniel ran too, but not toward his own home. He ran to Oliver's yard instead. Tools were scattered everywhere, and expensive machines stood uncovered in the rain. They worked fast to save them as the rain began falling harder. And somewhere behind him, Daniel's own life stood unprotected. By the time he returned home, his garden was completely destroyed. The wood was soaked and the plants were crushed. His peace had been washed away with the rain. He sat on the steps silently as the rain slid down his face. His mother placed a towel gently on his shoulders. "Today," she whispered with pain, "you saved everything except yourself." Something inside Daniel finally cracked. A quiet break that nobody else could hear. The next morning felt heavy. Confused and tired, Daniel walked to the river's edge, where old Mr. Harris, a retired teacher, lived. "I help everyone," Daniel said softly, "but I feel empty inside. Why does my kindness hurt me?" Mr. Harris pointed toward the river. "When a river gives without direction," he said calmly, "it floods and destroys everything. Kindness without limits becomes self-harm," he continued gently. "For 7 days, don't answer any requests immediately. Pause before you say yes. Ask yourself one simple question. Will this cost me my peace? If the answer is yes, then say, 'Not today, Daniel.'" The test came quickly. Oliver asked Daniel for help again. Daniel looked at his own broken fence. His heart screamed yes, but his breath said no. "Not today," Daniel replied calmly. Oliver walked away, completely shocked. Daniel stayed and fixed his fence. For the first time, he felt proud for choosing himself. The days passed slowly. More requests came his way, and more quiet refusals followed. Instead of exhaustion, a sense of calm arrived. Then the rain came again, and the roof leaked inside his house. Daniel waited quietly for help, but no one knocked on his door. So he fixed it himself patiently. "So this," he whispered softly, "is what self-respect feels like." Weeks passed, one by one. Daniel stopped running everywhere. He started waking up early to tend his garden peacefully. He repaired his home slowly. And then something strange happened. People stopped using Daniel and started respecting him instead. Oliver began solving his own problems. Neighbors stopped calling constantly. Daniel smiled more each day, and he laughed freely, without guilt. The world didn't fall apart when he stopped saying yes. Mr. Harris visited one afternoon. "So," he asked with a smile, "did everything break after that?" Daniel smiled back gently. "No," he said calmly. "My life finally came together." "When you stop saying yes to everyone around you," Mr. Harris replied softly, "you finally say yes to yourself. So let me ask you now, do you give too much? Do you stay silent for others?" Remember this simple truth. Saying no is not selfish. It is strength and self-respect. Protect your time carefully. Protect your peace without guilt. Because the moment you respect yourself, the world learns how to treat you. If this story felt like your life, pause for a quiet moment. And if it helped you breathe a little easier, please consider supporting our channel. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is simply choose yourself. Thank you for listening.